Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this masterclass on a day that surprisingly enough, ChatGPT seems to have gone down, which is causing all sorts of problems. Luckily, not for us. So I'm just going to share my screen. Today, we're going to talk about how you can excel at work when English is not your first language. Language is something that is the defining line between being able to communicate and not being able to communicate. So this is the one thing when you want to globalize your career, this is the one thing that will have one of the biggest impacts on your career. So with this in mind, why does English proficiency matter in the workplace? Well, English is widely used as the lingua franca in international business across 70% of countries around the world. So that means that if you can speak English, you can communicate in 70% of the world's countries, which is the difference between a global career and a local career. What percentage of multinational corporations use English as their primary language? This is a massive number. Up to 90% of multinational corporations use English as their primary language of communication. This is the key. A lot of people want to work for multinational companies, depending on the country that you're based in. And these obviously offer the ability to be able to travel around and offer opportunities in all different countries while working for the same company. So 90% of multinational corporations use English as their primary language of communication. So English is what brings everyone together, whether you're German, Thai, Indian, Saudi Arabian, everyone speaks English together. Who am I? I think most of you know me by now, but for those who don't, my name's Joanne Hayward. I am the owner and CEO of Fletcher Business English. I am a fully qualified and experienced English teacher with an enormous background in banking and insurance industry in both London and Dubai. So I am in a perfect place to help you not only with your English skills, but also with your international business skills. Now, close your eyes. Think. You don't need to close your eyes for this one. Think about what opportunities would be available to you if you were fluent in English. What opportunities would be available to you if you were fluent in English? Everyone has their own individual reason for being here. Everyone wants the ability to improve their English skills for different reasons. If you are working in a real estate company, you want to be able to talk about property, corporate, personal. If you are in the oil industry, then you need to talk about things related to oil and machinery and equipment and things like that. So think about you. Think about what opportunities would be available to you if you were fluent in English. Everyone's different. Hello there to those who have just joined us. Please feel free to put a note in the chat, and if there's any comments, I will come back and answer any questions at the end. Wonderful. So where is English used? Well, everywhere is the answer. It's to do with making presentations, public speaking, networking, sending emails, writing and checking and signing contracts. So it's not just about speaking, it's communicating. Speaking is one of the most important areas, but it is certainly not the only one. So if you're able to communicate fluently in English, you can present with style. enabling your boss to see your expertise. You could be the chosen one to make presentations in global situations. Negotiating, networking. This is all based on communication. How you communicate with someone will define whether you win the negotiation, whether you come away with a good deal. Obviously, the best deal is a win-win situation where everyone is happy. Communicating in writing. I know Grammarly and ChatGPT are a key element for a lot of non-native speakers, but when you have a situation, for example, like right now, when ChatGPT is not working, does that mean you can't send any emails? Does that mean you can't check or create any contracts? This is a tricky situation. So now, when it comes to excelling in English in your workplace, the first thing you have to do is figure out, where are you now? Think about what areas of English are your strengths and what areas are not your strengths. There's lots of support out there, especially if writing and reading is something that you find tricky. Obviously, there's lots of translations that you can use that will give you most of the idea, depending on your language. I am trying to learn Maltese, and the Maltese in Google Translate is really not very accurate. So whether Google Translate is able to translate your language with great accuracy depends on the language. But think about where you are now, because where you are now is a starting point for everything. Where are you now? Where are your areas of strength and weakness? You absolutely have to be honest with yourself about this, because until you can be honest with yourself, who will know where you could be? If you are going to say, oh, I'm very confident in this, I'm very confident in that, and you're not feeling that kind of confidence, then it's going to be very difficult to improve in the areas that you really need to improve. So this is something for you to sit down and reflect upon now during this time of year. This is why I'm doing this training today in between Christmas and New Year, because it's a good time to reflect. Reflect on where you are now in all areas of your life and reflect upon the next stage. Where do you want to be? What is success to you? Thank you for joining. As I've said, if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments and I will come to the questions at the end. Okay, so where do you want to be? Everyone wants to be in a slightly different place. Everyone, okay, fluency is one thing. I want to be fluent. Fantastic. Fluent so that you can do what? You want to make presentations, fantastic presentations. You want to negotiate with style. What do you want to do? Learning pages and pages of vocabulary is not something that I would recommend to anyone, because the words and phrases that you need to use will change depending on what you do, depending on what industry you're working in, depending on what your role is. So the idea is that you will learn words, phrases, grammar, every other skill and technique to make you a success in your mind. Where do you want to be? What is a success? Define success. Lots of people are reflecting at the moment as to what they did last year. And I have to say, I went back and reflected on my year. I used a lot of my photos, which is a really useful thing to do. And I have come a really long way from where I was a year ago. And when you know where you are or where you were last year, and you know where you are now, you are able to reflect and say, okay, this is brilliant. This worked. Maybe this didn't work. But unless you know where you are, and where you want to be, there's no way of reflecting on what worked and what didn't work. There's no way of staying motivated. If your motivation is just going to learn pages of new vocabulary every day, then okay, you could keep a check on whether you know these words and phrases that you've been learning. But will it improve your English communication skills? No, not when it comes to business. When it comes to business, it's how effectively you communicate. This is the key. And who do you need to communicate with? What do you need to communicate about? Where do you want to be? And how quickly do you want to be there? I want to be able to make the perfect presentation in a month. Perfect. So when you think about where you want to be, fluency is the overall goal. But there are steps to fluency. And when you put these steps into place, it helps you to stay motivated, helps you to really think about where you want to be and making sure that you can celebrate all those wins. I want to be able to make a phone call in English with my counterpart who currently works in Germany. Brilliant. That's a great place to start. Very specific and a great aim, because then when you can do that, you can look back and go, okay, brilliant. Next, what am I going to do next? Generally speaking, the way I help with goal setting is you have a bigger goal, then you have steps to get to that. So we don't wait till you say, okay, I've achieved that. What's next? You know where you're going next. So that it's a constant movement, although we celebrate the wins on the way. Celebrating wins is so important. So what does your success look like? And your success is different from my success. My success is different from my daughter's success. Everyone's success is different. And even if you have 10 colleagues working for your company, your success will look different from their success because they will have different personal goals, different goals of where they want to be. So the best way to achieve a goal is to write it down. So think about, what does your success look like? What does your perfect day look like? What do you want to spend your time doing? Do you want to spend your time worrying about your English when it comes to making presentations? Or do you want the alternative, which is, okay, I've got a presentation already created and I feel confident with that presentation and I'm confident in answering questions about the presentation. Always the tricky bit. What questions will they ask? Okay, define your success. Sit down and think about a year, 3 years, 5 years, and then first. What's your first goal? What do you want to do in the next month? In the next week? Think about it, because only you can define your success. Being fluent in English is not a goal. It's a very overall goal, and at the end, that's absolutely fantastic. But you're not going to get from here to there in a minute. You need some steps. So if you say my goal is to be fluent, you will never achieve that goal very quickly, and you won't know whether you're on track to achieve it or not. Okay, there you go. How to set goals. There is lots of information on the internet about how to set goals, but these are the key elements, and you'll see that they have one thing in common, which is they provide clear direction. And by achieving these small goals will help you to stay motivated, especially when it comes to language learning. You need to put yourself into positions. You need to use your English. You need to be uncomfortable. And in order to do that, you need to know where you want to go. Push yourself. And then when you've opened your mouth and made that perfect presentation, then you start to feel confident. And confidence comes with practice. Practicing the right thing in the right way will help you to achieve your goals, be it smart, be it packed, whatever type of goals you're going to choose. So they need to be very specific. If you set a GPS on your car and say, I'd like to go from here to London, fine. First of all, where am I here? Where is here? Where am I starting from? And London is fine. It'll take us in a general direction, but whereabouts in London do you want to be? Do you want to be in the Houses of Parliament? Or do you want to be on the M25 somewhere? So you need to be very specific and measurable. How will I know when I've achieved my goal? There's no point in setting goals. If you an airy fairy goal, I want to lose weight. Yeah, that's fine. If you lose 1 kilo, then you have achieved your goal. But when you say, I want to lose weight, so that what? So you can fit into clothes that you wore 5 years ago, so that you can run around with your children more effectively. You want to be fitter, you want to be stronger, or do you want to just physically lose weight on the measuring scales? You don't lose weight for the sake of losing weight. You lose weight so that you can do something else. So think about what your goals are and how are you going to measure them. Very specific, measurable, actionable. If you can't take action on them, what's the point of having the goals? Rewarding, something that means something to you. For me, I don't even have a set of scales. So I would actually like to be able to lose some weight, but not to be on the scales. I want to be able to run around more effectively and feel stronger. Hi to those just joining. I'm just going to say, just put notes in the comments and I will refer to them when we finish the presentation. Thank you for joining us. So, as you can see, the ones under packed, same rules apply. SMART says time specific. So when you have set exactly what you want for your goal, I want to be on the Houses of Parliament, by when? We're talking in 5 years' time? Or are we talking in a month? Because you take very different route if you were going to be there in 5 years' time. So when you have actionable, measurable goals, then you can track them. And they have to be ongoing. You have to be constantly moving forward, because otherwise you stop and then you're not motivated to continue and you haven't achieved your overall goal, which is fluency. Okay, so obviously, one of the key areas that most people say they want to improve is vocabulary. But vocabulary is a really key area because it's really important to be able to say what you want to say. The most important thing is that you know the words that are relevant to what you want to say. Pages and pages of vocabulary are completely useless if you're learning about the words for table and chair and you're not an interior designer. So when it comes to improving your vocabulary, which everyone should be doing, even me, I check new words when I'm reading books. I check new words and phrases to make sure that I'm down with the kids, because a lot of young people use completely different set of words. Half of them I still don't know, but I'm trying. But when you're in business situations, depending on the situation you are in, you need to learn the words and phrases that are relevant to that situation. That's it. Pages of vocabulary will waste your time. Let's go back to where you want to be. So what does success look like for you? And what words and phrases do you need to achieve that success? If you want to be able to make presentations, what about? What's your subject? What's your topic? What do you want to tell people about? Is it a sales presentation? Is it a presentation about a new product? All of these things will involve different words and phrases. Vocabulary is vital. To improve your vocabulary daily, at least weekly, is vital when it comes to expressing yourself. being eloquent, people understanding you, and possibly more importantly, you understanding them. Because at the end of the day, communication is a two-way street, but the most important element is you understanding what other people are saying to you. You can prepare what you're going to say fully, but it's those questions that will come to you that will demonstrate your expertise. And if you can't understand what they are saying to you, this might be a vocabulary thing, it might be an accent thing, but these are all things that you can prepare in advance. Pronunciation. It's another key element. Are you pronouncing the words correctly? I had a student and he was from Thailand and he was almost completely ununderstandable. I had real difficulty understanding him until I realized that he was dropping the ends of the words away. And as soon as I figured that out, we spent 20 minutes together working on his accent, and it was a different human being. Because people think that when you speak quickly, that's what native speakers do, and that you'll be understood more easily. But the answer is no, you need to speak clearly. Clarity comes before speed, always. If you're not saying things clearly, then no one will understand. So pronunciation, finding the words, and then saying them correctly and being able to understand when other people say them. And listening. Listening is one of the most underrated skills. When you're listening to someone, it's not just what comes out of their mouth, it's also how they use their hands and also other things that are important too. So how your face moves, whether you're smiling, whether you're frowning, all of these things are part of listening. If you can understand what people are saying and you can say what you want to say in the correct accent, everyone will understand you and you can understand everyone else. So you need the words, you need to know how to say them, and you need to understand other people when they speak. These are the key areas of business English. People say to me, they start off with conversations, please excuse my English, my grammar is not good, etc., etc., etc. To be honest, every student that I have come across, their grammar has been fine. Not perfect necessarily, but understandable. So don't focus on your grammar, focus on where you want to be. Everyone learns grammar at school, and just a little bit of a prompt will kick back all the grammar rules that you need. And there are lots of exceptions, and you can learn the language. If you want to learn the language as a scholar, please feel free. I'm not the person to be following because I believe in practical skills. Practical skills for communication. That's the key. So you need to know the words, you need to know when to say them, how to say them, and how to understand others when they speak. Key areas of business, obviously. You've got public speaking. That's making presentations, negotiating, networking, and building relationships. These are key areas of business English because business is something that happens between two people, sometimes more. But people do business with people. And this is why AI, ChatGPT this is the second time ChatGPT has gone down. People do business with people. They don't want to do business with computers. And they will, and things are automated and they're going that way. But when something goes wrong, and my Facebook account was hacked a couple of years ago, I couldn't find a single person that I could speak to. I never got my account back. But the frustration I felt at not being able to speak to someone because it was all automated. You send messages, they automatically send messages back. It's very frustrating. And who knows if that is where it's going to continue. But if you have a talent for communicating, making presentations, speaking in public, presenting yourself, your company, your brand, negotiating, getting those really good deals, win-win situation, that means the client will come back, networking and building relationships. These are the key areas to business in any language. But to be able to do this in English globalizes your career. And this is the key. So what are the common challenges that everyone faces? This is not just non-native speakers. Just because your language is not English doesn't mean we don't feel the same obstacles. Fear of not being understood. Fear of not being appreciated. Fear of not being recognized. Fear of making a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. These are all valid fears. But do you know the one thing that you can do to help get rid of fear of not being understood, fear of making mistakes, fear of not being appreciated and recognized from your expertise? When you know what you're saying makes sense. And we will all make mistakes. We will all trip over words. This will happen in no matter what you do. We do it, you do it, everyone does it. But the key is once you're prepared and you have your success goals in place, then you can work towards making sure that this doesn't happen very often. So now, I just want to stay with me for a minute and close your eyes. If you don't want to close your eyes, I understand this, but I want you to imagine that you feel so confident in your own expertise. And I'm sure that most of you, if not all of you, already feel confident in your own expertise, in your own language. But imagine if you could feel the same amount of confidence in English. Imagine new opportunities are flowing your way. You're finally getting the recognition that you deserve. So sit with that for a minute. What opportunities are in front of you? What opportunities can you see? Think about it, because what goes on in your head is almost most of the journey there, because what goes on in your head will help you with setting your goals. So it's Christmas, December the 31st, actually New Year, 2025. Where are you? You're celebrating. You're celebrating success in business and in your personal life. What are you celebrating? What opportunities did you grab this year? And what opportunities have you got lined up for the following year? Imagine a world where English communication skills are an asset, not a barrier, where you go for your job interview feeling confident and energized, and you're like, yes, I'm fluent in English. I can absolutely communicate confidently in English. What opportunities will open up for you? Why wouldn't this be what you want? I know that everyone is very busy. And I know that most people feel that they need to sit and learn vocabulary in order to improve their English skills. And I know that you have the drive, you have that fire inside you, and you want to get better, but you're not sure what you're capable of, but you want to find out. And absolutely, you feel that English communication skills are letting you down. Is that fair to say? I've missed out on opportunities because I've lacked in confidence. I think we all have missed out on opportunities because we don't want to take the next step because it's quite scary sometimes. Hello to those of you who are joining. So I'm just keeping you on mute for now. If you can, if you have any comments, please put them into the chat for now, and then I will address the comments at the end. Thank you very much. I have a student who was asked by her company to make a presentation at an international insurance event. She was asked 5 times, and each time she said no. Why? Because she didn't feel confident in making the presentation. She was worried that people would judge her. She was worried that she wouldn't get the words out, that she would trip over the words, that people would ask her questions and she wouldn't understand them. These opportunities will be presented to you when you feel confident in English. So, if you're struggling with clear communication in English and only and you are ready to feel confidence, to take the next step, what you need is to set good goals. You need support and you need accountability. Support will direct you, will teach you what the gaps are, what you're missing, what information you're missing, and will help you to learn the right information. Support of a great community, because everyone needs support. You can ask as many questions as you like, whatever you need, and then the skills. So if you're ready to take this next step, then I'm absolutely delighted to tell you that I am opening up my membership. This is I've done my best to make it as affordable as possible for everyone, with full support. So lots of live sessions, there's video training, there's PDF training, there's everything that you would need, plus a community and me. So I will be there to support you, to help you, to train you, to advise you, to answer your questions, and to help guide you in the right direction. So if, and only if, you are ready to take your English to the next level, then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it. So I've had some testimonials, of course. I've accepted the opportunity to make a presentation for the International Conference on Inclusive Insurance next month. This was the lady I was telling you about. Another professional said, I don't avoid speaking English at work. Now I enjoy it. She looks for opportunities to use her English at work instead of sitting quietly in meetings, scared to say anything, which happens to more people than you can ever imagine. So if it is you that's sitting quietly in meetings and not wanting to open your mouth and say anything, then you are certainly not alone. Someone told me, this is a testimonial, I taught them how to study each skill and let us keep practicing until we totally mastered it. The key to what I'm offering, to the membership I'm offering, is the live training sessions. We will do role plays, question and answer. So you can ask whatever questions you want. If I get people asking the same questions, I will do live trainings on it. I am there to help you not only set your goals, but then to achieve them and to keep moving up. I enjoy speaking English at work. This is the key. This is what I want for you, and this is what you want for you. The ability to be able to communicate freely and confidently in English. Okay, so what's included? Active and supportive community, access to the Fletcher Business English Library, 3 open door and Q&A sessions per month, which means I open the Zoom room and people can come and go as they please with questions, and I will answer them. We can talk through any situation that you're going through at work and we can solve things together. So you will be completely supported. 3 role-playing discussion sessions per month as well. So for the first 3 weeks of every month, we get 2 sessions per week. And there's on-demand video training covering everything. If it's not included, I will do one to make sure that everything you need is there. As a bonus, which is worth 500 euros. 30 minutes, just me and you, to create a personalized impact plan. How you can jump from where you are now to where you want to be. An actual plan of what to do every day, what to do every week, what to do every month, if you're ready to get to where you want to be. So that's a bonus. So again, some more testimonials. People that know me know that I'm a very optimistic person and I motivate people in every session that I do. And my job, I see my job, my role is to help you with your English, whatever that takes. The monthly investment for the membership is 97 euros. Thank you.